What's up guys and welcome back to another video. It's now a couple of days after Nishi D. I am getting sick and tired of this V8 car. So we're gonna get stuck into the S13 today. Now that the engine's in and the car is rolling, we are getting to the nitty gritty end of getting this car finished. So my boy Daniel is coming around. Daniel's drawing a penis on my car.
See, I didn't draw a penis. I drew a smiley face.
So Dan loves cutting and grinding and welding, so we're going to leave him with all the little fabrication jobs. I'm going to get into the more technical side of stuff, which means like unbolting nuts and bolts. I'm going to spend a small amount of time working on the 180 today because we need to get that ready for round 2. So as you guys saw in the Nishi D video, unfortunately the alternator died and that sort of ended our day of drifting, so we've got to replace the alternator. Starter motor's sort of been playing up for a long time in that car. These were the parts that came with the motor. They were all secondhand when I bought it, so I've had a good run with them. I'm using the GoPro at the moment until I can get my other camera fixed. However, if you guys like the audio and the video better on the GoPro, let me know below and I'll just continue to use GoPro. All right, so what are you doing today, Daniel?
Today I'll be trimming the fenders, making sure this baby looks all good on a Nissan shitbox.
Why'd you throw it so far? So you guys have all seen this done a million times. You cut the outer skin out, you cut that off, and then you cut the rest of the inner skin into fillets, and then you bend those up, cut away the excess, and weld it all on. Dan hasn't had a lot of experience on the welder, so I'm giving this to him. I don't really care if he fucks it up and makes a big mess of it. It's more just a learning curve. This quarter panel is going to be caved in a million times once this car sees the track, so it doesn't really matter if his welding isn't really up to scratch. You know, I'm more than happy to just let him help. So we've got brand new starter motor. We're going to wrap some heat tape around it just to try and help with a bit of the heat soak, because these are really close to the extractors and they do suffer greatly from that. So we'll see if that makes any difference or if it was just an older dying starter motor.
Alrighty guys, we just cut the outside edge off. As you see, cut me there, get fucked. Now we've cut these all into fillets now. I'm just gonna bend them up with the pliers, nothing special. Bend them over, tack weld them in if we can. Bit of rust-proof paint, drift car, no one cares. Slap the side on and we're done on this.
As you can see, I've got the alternator off. The bearing does seem fine, so I'm not too sure why it wasn't charging. We're gonna replace this alternator and then we're gonna, hopefully it fixes the problem. The fucking thing just won't come out. It's just not enough room. Might have to go from underneath, bro. Or just take the power steering pump off. It's kind of just like, oh, got him. That's gonna suck putting a new one in, but yeah, I think that's enough, mate. So this is just another reason why SR20s in S chassis are the best thing ever. Because trying to get this thing out of there without pulling the whole thing apart is like mission impossible. But we've got it done, so now we can get the new alternator and the new starter motor. Or do we just pull the whole LS out and put one of the SR20s in? SR20s! Yeah, we should, yeah. Get the engine crate. Oh, fuck that. Lunch. Yeah.
At least I can cook. I can't weld.
Just gotta get my master chef on. So unfortunately, I've just got the news that because of the coronavirus, round 2 has been cancelled, which means I no longer have any rush to get the 180 ready for that. So that means me and Daniel can now focus on the S13 for the rest of the afternoon. So Daniel, what are you doing? And well, this is the exact reason why we're going over fenders in the first place. This was like this when I bought it, so there's no point trying to fix that. An over fender was just meant to cover it up. So Daniel has finished this side. It's not the prettiest job, but it just needs to work. Daniel's gonna get stuck on getting the second side all cut up and welded out. And while he is doing that, I'm going to be drilling out all the holes for the rest of the nutserts so we can mount that over fender. So I seem to have misplaced my nutsert gun, which means I won't be able to do the final install on the over fenders. However, the next thing on the list is to install the clutch pedal. So Nissan actually make it really easy for this. Even though this car was originally an automatic, it has the holes almost pre-drilled. I'm going to drill these two out and they're going to be my guide for the master, and then I'm going to use the stepper drill bit to keep ovaling this out until I can fit the master cylinder in there. I'm just doing some exact measurements. You know, just getting the right size drill bit for the job is a fucking important thing to do, mate. This one here is a little bit too big, but that'll do. Just fucking just mash her up and go, yeah, that'll fucking do, eh? Right, so as you guys can see, it's a smidge wet outside. And now basically our whole working area is completely flooded and everything we need, but we just can't do anything. So we decided to come in and we're gonna unbox my new turbo. China's finest, actually.
Thailand's finest.
I think these are Taiwan. Taiwan. Somewhere in East Asia's finest yin yang spinning thing. So we have a Kinagawa TD05 18G T2 rear flange, S13 exhaust flange, 3-inch intake with a internal wastegate, and this is going to suit the Silk Road manifold. It's going to be that perfect size of power versus response. I'm envisioning a low 300 horsepower and a very responsive setup. Being low mount with the Silk Road and the straight through exhaust, it should have that mint authentic SR20 note. We actually ended up buying 3 of these turbos, so we got a really good price on all the water lines and the oil lines. It's got the oil drain, it's got all the gaskets, it's got new studs, it's pretty much got everything we need. So for the price that you pay for these versus what you get out of them, they're very good value, and good value means more seat time. Oh, so we just got delivery from the postman. Oh, I wonder what's in this one.
I wonder what in this
Where's it from?
eBay.
Oh, GK Tech. What you reckon? You want to open it now, or should we make them wait till the next video?
Nah, fuck it, let's open it.
Fuck, this is gonna make like shooting videos so easy. Just get in there and get like wicked angles.
Oh, spaces. Gee whiz, look at that.
We got some man-sized spaces there, boy.
Man-sized spaces.
Oh, hey there, Daniel. How are you? I'm just getting the turbo basically all clocked. I've got all the lines sorted the way I want them, so I'm just finishing up the last bolts now. We'll then bolt it to the manifold, and then we can put it back into the car, and we can do a test fit to make sure that all the lines are going to work the way I want them to later down the track. There was something else I was going to say, but I've completely forgotten now. So we're just on the way to visit a couple of my sponsors. We're going to Mert. It's going to be our first stop. He's going to be doing a lot of little fabrication things for me on the S13. And then after that, we're off to Lost Racing to pick up some more Speedflow fittings and lines. Glenn, when are you going to finish this car? Matt Haggerty's LSX. Oh, they got a little dick there. Little dick there. Look, that means
so we'll put a little dick there.
Put
a little dick there.
And then this. Breaking my heart. Fuck, it nearly broke me yesterday as well. Let's just take a minute to appreciate brand new shiny parts. So we just got home from Mert and Lost Race. I've got to say I'm very thankful again to have Mert on board. He always fits me in, he always does his very best to try and help out, so I'm super thankful for that. So this is a factory S13 water neck. The S14s actually come with a water feed fitting for the turbo. The S13 ones don't, so what he's done is he's just welded one in there. That's going to make life so much easier just for plumbing the turbo lines. We did have a snapped exhaust stud there, so this is snapped off the bolt. We also welded a Allen key in there and it snapped off that end, so he reckons he had about 3 goes at it, and he said it was well and truly in there. So whoever put that in there did a really good job. Lastly, he's doglegged the shifter for me. It's definitely not the most visually appealing, but he made it nice and thick, and then he's sort of given me some guidance about where I can and can't cut depending on just how it all fits. You know, it's a bit difficult for him to do this without having the car there. Yeah, it's definitely not the most visually appealing thing, but it's going to do the job. We can now cut the transmission tunnel out and we can get that shifter in there and make sure that everything's going to work nicely, and then we can pretty up the shifter if we need to. I also paid a visit to Lost Racing. They are the state's biggest speed flow dealer, so we're not going to go all braided line on this one. We just went in there, we got AN fittings to barb, and then we're going to be running some Gator fuel lines. So we're going to replace all the fuel lines in this car with this E85 rated fuel line, and then we also picked up some more oil drain and catch can line, so we're going to be redoing all those as well. So once again, a big thank you to Lost Racing for all their help and support. So we did a quick test fit with the turbo all bolted up. First thing is this heat shield plate here is going to have to go. It was, this water line was also clashing, so we're probably going to have to reroute this water line up underneath the turbo, or we're going to have to run it over and around somewhere. I've sort of been waiting for the GoPro to finish charging, so I've made some progress over the last couple of hours. We have fuel pressure reg is mounted. I totally forgot about this, so I can't finish the fuel line. I do need one more fitting before I can get that done, but we can make a bit more progress there. Turbo is now on, everything is bolted up. I'm happy with all the lines where they're going to go, so I've got to replace this one down here with a -6 line because that is still a -4. We're going to have to remove that oil block line as well. I'm going to use a banjo fitting. That will look a lot neater if we've got a banjo on it like that, and that's facing upwards, so that's going to work better. We've still got to put the water feed on, the water feed that Matt so neatly whipped up earlier. Before we do that, I've just got to steal this GK Tech adapter off this motor. It's a good thing having all these SR20s sitting around. The dogleg shifter is now in. It did have to be cut down just to get this sort of clamping plate on, but yeah, pretty happy with that. That works well, looks good, sits central. Just have to wait and see till we get the center console in there and see what happens. We've drilled 3 pilot holes, so that'll be the next thing we've got to do. Get the clutch master and the clutch pedal bolted in. Definitely should have done that while the engine was out, but that is a major fuck up. We've also got the big 50mm spacers are on now. We've got about 45mm of spacing on the front, and we've got a tie rod end is now on this side as well. So all the suspension is basically bolted up, pretty much ready to go. Still got to do a final alignment on it. We've got to center the rack. We've got to modify all the camber and the caster setting for maximum contact path. The reason why we're running such big spaces around is we want the track, but then we also want the car to be balanced. We want the front to be spaced out as much as we have the back spaced out. So it's going to give a real natural and balanced feel to the car. So as you can see, clutch pedal is now in. And we've got a slight issue with the clutch pedal overlapping the brake pedal. We're not going to use a manual brake pedal on this one. We are just going to cut this down probably halfway. That'll give us a nice big brake pedal and plenty of clearance for the clutch pedal. Clutch pedal is now in. That is all fully bolted up, nice and secure, ready to go. That's got plenty of clearance, so you can hit that a million different ways and not worry about it. I've started putting all the dashboard back together. So that's probably what I'll do next, considering there's not really a lot left to do in the interior now. Fucking pretty happy, making some serious progress. Kind of gotten a bit distracted. It's pretty easy to do when there's a million things that need to be done. And I just start bouncing between here, there, everywhere, and I get lost where I am. So right now I have just finished cleaning up the GK Tech adapter. I've cleaned up the water neck, I've cleaned this up. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop some of this silicone on it, and we're going to let that set overnight, so then we can start playing around with the final install on the turbo and oil lines tomorrow. And then I'll probably get back into putting the dash in. So this is about as far as I got, and then I kind of just gave up. So it's starting to get real dark, and it's just difficult to get things done out here with the lack of light. So we've run into a small issue. I'll just re-mock that up. Again, something that we could never have predicted. Well, I probably could have if I was actually smart and pre-mocked everything. Is that fitting? That fitting there is like, there's just no room with this manifold, and there's absolutely no way of making that work. So it's another fuck up on my behalf. However, on this motor, I'm using a high mount manifold. Fitting's in a different position. That would clear, and just roughly looking at it, if I swapped water necks over, I should be able to use this one on the S13, and the new water neck should be able to work on this motor. So it's that's super inconvenient, but I guess it's just lucky that I have all these SRs and parts lying around that I can swap and interchange when need be. That fitting is now hitting on there. However, I'm fairly certain I can notch this bracket here, and I'll be able to just clock this around. Pretty much run out of light, so you can't really see or film anything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the power steering bracket, and that's going to allow me to rotate the banjo fitting, and what that should do is should give us enough clearance on the S14 water neck, just enough to get that fitting on there. So I'll play around with that tomorrow. However, I'm just going to get one more thing done tonight, this coil pack harness. I mentioned this in one of my other videos. Daniel's car caught fire at one stage. Conduit is all melted, and it's got a bit of the factory stuff here. What we're going to do is we're going to get rid of all that, and we're going to use this super neat and tidy tape. Now, credit's got to go to PSA Ski Boats on this one. They did this on my LS1 engine harness when they modified that, and I just thought it is actually like a real fantastic way of just simply tidying up and keeping everything together and real tidy. So it's called Tessa tape, this one here. So it's like got almost a vinyl finish to it, but then it's super adhesive as well. So let's get into stripping all this old conduit off, and then we can just simply wrap it up and see the finished product. This is our stripped wiring harness. We're just going to leave these couple of bits of tape there. How good does this look? I aimed for about a 50% overlap. Also just went over the top of the plugs. You know, I've got mad OCD, so that looks Hollywood. That looks just 10 times better from all that crap to this. It's not perfect, but it's just got such a nice quality. Hold on, I'll get out the light. Good stuff. I like it. I rate it. It is quite hard building shit drift cars with OCD, because I just wanted to make every little detail perfect, but with these cars you just cannot. Seat time and getting out there and getting things done as quickly as possible is key. When your coil pack harness was set on fire and it looks like complete trash, that's something we got to address. I'm not going to bother doing the rest of the engine harness. As far as I'm aware, it is actually in really good nick, so yeah, we'll just leave that. That's all finished and just another thing ticked off the list.